Alright, excuse me. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic Lesson Known Classics. This is episode number 2830 and Doubleshot number 2724. Well, first we're discussing the final issues of Azrael, issues 76 to 90 and 92 to 100. Well, of the first 5 anyways. Now, up until issue 90, 90 is like the beginning of the end of the series. Because, of course, we found stuff in there. So, basically, in the case of these issues here, we deal with Return Nicholas Starch, who's kind of like a recurring villain. He's here for a lot of the remainder of this series. Yes, and yeah, for some reason it's basically like bikers. Oh, and Harold Onnet is basically here in this book. Yes, this guy, from what I heard, was supposed to be like a regular recurring character in the book, and like in the Batman books post-crisis, but he got moved to these books for some reason. He's here for not much of the series. He's here from issue 78, 76, 80, 78, 80 to 86, and he pops up for 91, 92, and it's like this guy was here just to keep an eye on Azrael. And some of these issues here, basically him just traveling to the place, like Otisville, which he's here for some issues here. Of course, he's here for roughly like 3 issues. Yeah, he's here for like 3 issues and then he's gone. Yeah. It's like he's here protecting his town for a few issues and he just moves on to something else. It's an interesting story for what it is. It's not Gotham City, but it's different. And then we have Roadkill. Well, it's called Driven to Extremes, where the main villain of issue 79 is a alligator man named Garm, who is only here for 3 issues. For issues 79, 81, 82. Yeah, he skips an issue. Oh, he's actually here for 4 issues. I guess they said it on there, but yeah. Also goes to Bloodhaven, and there's a really interesting image in 81 where he's like hanging on a cross. Yeah, so we had fight this guy Garm for like a few issues, and then like, well, of course here with Leslie Tompkins, she finds something. Then we have 83 where, and by the way, in these issues they tease Sister Lethe returning to the book. Yeah, they teased her for several issues, like, oh, Sister Lethe's gonna be here, and it took her several issues. Now, when she returned here, she had actually returned to the book in issue 58. She appeared sporadically. But by 83, she's pretty much here for like the long haul, for like the rest of the freaking book. Yes, seriously. But after 83, she skips a couple issues. Yeah. I'll talk more about Joker's last stuff. It's basically Azrael versus the Joker. Again, but not a bad idea to do. Yep. Him doing baseball in 84. In 85, basically. 85 is a bit of a political issue. Fights a guy called Spartan. Yeah, he's here for a few issues, and then we have this guy called Kenny. And this one, Sister Lethe returns. Yeah, and Les Tompkins is basically brought back here in this book because, well, and then we have Nightwing appearing in the book. Yes, Nightwing guest stars for a few issues of this book. Probably because Oracle called him in to deal with it. Yes. And then, like, With issue 90, well, here's kind of the thing. So, basically, end of issue 89, Azrael pays visit to Wayne Manor. Which, first time he's been to this house, probably since Nightfall. Alfred basically is not trusting him. So what does he do? He just politely pushed past Alfred, walks straight to basically Bruce Wayne's study, turns the clock to the very time that Bruce Wayne's parents were murdered, walks in, and takes his Azrael Batsuit, which is the first time he's worn that since Night's End. And throughout the first half of these issues, he wears his costume. Yes, from basically from this point, from 89 to roughly about 95, he's back wearing this costume. At one point, he calls me, you think he's Batman. Despite the fact he's not Batman, he's Azrael. And also, Saint Dumas returns the book after he had disappeared back in issue 30. He is back. Why is he here? Well, apparently, it turns out, according to Leslie Tompkins, and some conversation she has with John Pavelli, so Saint Dumas is a hallucination. Yes, the guy who he has a lot of respect for is nothing more than hallucination. Thanks to the Order of Saint Dumas' brainwash of him. Yep. Oh, by the way, skip over 91 because it's basically just a tie-in to I think it was like Bruce Wayne Fugitive, I think it was. Yeah, and also, the Order of Saint Dumas is back in these last two issues. And there's also this, Azrael making a deal with like a gangster to sort of kind of turn him into a celebrity. Yeah, and he's basically here for the last minute of the series. Yeah, a crooked senator who works with him to make him a public image, and the fact he's sort of a pawn, and then toward the end of the series, he just turns against him because he's outlived his usefulness. Oh yeah, by the way, issue 90. Basically, it's found in issue 89 that Azrael is dying. Yes, and the cause of this is the conditioning that he went through when he was aged up to what he was when he became Azrael. So yes, the Order of Saint Dumas basically indirectly created him a cancer, which killed him in the final issue of the book. Yep, it's just like, okay, let's just kill off the character by having him be sick from the conditioning involving his training from Azrael. Yes. Oh, and by like 96, he's basically back wearing his regular costume that he had just dropped. Also with Two-Face here. At one point, Cicely basically is like, is that Two-Face? At one point, she kind of basically, it's like he's ordered by Saint Dumas to kill her, then he spares her, because it's implied. At one point, get this, he basically tells her, okay, I'm the leader of the new Order of Saint Dumas, and I want you to make my dinner. She's like, I'll get the no, you make it. Fine. She proceeds to try to poison him. Except it doesn't work because he's Azrael. Yep. And then the last two issues, the most bizarre stuff happens. So, Nicholas Scratch returns. Yes, who was a character who they in this very book. He's back and he's wearing an all-white Azrael suit. Batman knows he's not Azrael. Nicholas Scratch knows he's not Azrael. So basically it's like, oh, Az versus Azrael for the final few issues of the book. And then like Azrael just falls into like off a building implying he died. And then he's seen walking to heaven and like that's last to see of him. Until like 2009 for Blackest Night. He came back as a Black Lantern zombie. He was dead for 6 freaking years. And then, like, he comes back as a zombie. Like, oh, you forgot me, so I'm going to kill you with my freaking sword. Yes, that's how the writers wrote him. And by the way, he did not have a Blackest Night Resurrection issue. Oh, no, he did not. He got brought back in some other book. I'm like, okay, so you get one for Phantom Stranger, Starman, Power Shazam, But not Azrael? I thought that was weird. And then we don't see him after that until, like, well after the Flashpoint reboot in 2011, where he's brought back in the pages of Batman and Robin Eternal as a recurring character. And then you've seen a handful of issues, a little bit of James IV Detective Comics book. And then, for some reason, after that run wraps up, he joins Odyssey for a bit, where he goes to space for a while, which, that was interesting. I liked the Justice League Odyssey book. I thought it was amazing. It's a shame the book got canceled 25 issues, but some book was really good concept. I love its members. In fact, they actually had Starfire's sisters in the team, which is awesome. Then somebody made back to Earth somehow, despite the fact he was stranded in space. Yeah, I thought this was kind of weird. And the last thing he came up was a miniseries. He also had a miniseries tie into Fear State. It was Arkham Order of the World, which was his book, by the way. So he's had a couple miniseries that he was brought back, but not much for Jump Off Alley. Not really. Now you might be asking, Nick, did the book ever come back? Was the book ever revived at some point? It was. In the aftermath of Battle for the Cow, Extreme Battle for the Cow, Azrael came back as a completely different character. Yes, it wasn't all Bob Valley resurrected. Oh no, we did it already. So basically, the writers at DC Comics thought of a good idea to create a brand new Azrael. Except his book wasn't successful. This book was. Oh no. I read a little bit of that book and led into Judgment Gotham story, which is interesting stuff. Yeah, I'll talk about the new Azrael later, but yeah, the book was really bizarre. And okay, so and get this. The Azrael book 1 in the 10 Commandments. This Azrael, whose first name is Michael, he did something completely unforgettable. He slept with his brother's wife. I am not kidding about that. He did that at some point. I'm like, and you make him Azrael. Doesn't that find that kind of weird? I don't know. They brought back Order of Saint Amand. It's like Denny just basically shut them down in issue 30, just bring it back for fun because the book was ending. And why did the book end at this point in time? Well, I don't know if there was a specific reason why for the book ending per se, but around the time this book ending, he was forced to retire by DC Comics as the editor of the Bat books. Yes, a guy who steered the ship for the Bat books at that point since the late 80s. So after basically about 20 years, he was forced to retire. Because DC wanted to change the books. And some ideas DC wanted the Bat books. Then he said no, because basically, my guess is because, I'm going to give this to Chuck Dixon from his stuff. My guess is he probably didn't like the ideas. He probably thought they were stupid. And I guess DC higher-ups response to him saying no to stuff they wanted for the Bat books. Because he actually, from the way Chuck Dixon described in his podcast, at Chuck Dixon's podcast, is that when he was at the helm, Batman put out a lot of really good quality comics. Like, basically, books come on time, the stories made sense, and, like, Chuck Dixon spoke fondly about the Bat Summits that Denny hosted. He's like, a lot of fond memories of it. But the last one he went to, Denny wasn't there because he retired at that point. Because a new editor apparently... Okay, the way he described it is that he encouraged his writers to be each other's throats. And I spoke to my mom about this. Even she says, that is not a good work environment. And Chuck's like, nope, I'm out of here. I'm going to cross-gen. Which he got paid better, too, from what I heard. Yeah, but it was sad to see his book go. It wasn't a terrible book, per se. It's a shame, also, the book only had one original trade that here's the thing. A lot of the series is collect and trade, but here's the thing. It has one regular trade for this book, one, and everything else is basically all stuff to do with crossovers. They're like, really? Just crossovers? Nothing else? Like, no regular trades? They have one. I own it. And for some reason, DC chose to release another one. Like it was a joke I saw on Amazon. Oh yeah, not coming out in 2046. Which means, nope, this book is not coming out. At all, because probably they axed it. DC Comics. Can you please release more trades of this book? Because I'm sure there probably is fans of Azrael out there. Like, the Bat books had a lot of good quality, good writing, good artwork. Like, Azrael never had a bad artist. Like, the book was amazing for 100 issues and 3 annuals. I never thought anything was bad per se in this book. It's just that, well, here's a little weird fun fact about this book. It is Danny's longest book he's ever worked on. Yes. For basically like almost 8, I think it was like a little over 8 years working this book. From like 94, I think it was, to like 2003. He worked on this book. And it was amazing how long it lasted for. Yes, definitely. It was also surprising how long the anchor lasted for. The cover is amazing. I never had a problem with anything in this book per se. It's just that some of the stuff in this book wasn't as good as some other issues were. I said the beginning was really good. I enjoyed the first like couple years of this book, but a lot of the air stuff just okay or pretty decent. Like the last, I would say probably the weakest portion of the book was how the book ended. Like, oh, he basically got some condition because of his training as Azrael, and I'm like, that's how you're gonna kill him off, Danny? I heard that the reason why he wrote this series was because he brought the character into existence. He's like, I'll do this whole series and have him die in the final issue. That's a her anyways. Sadly put, we're moving on to a different book here. That book being World's Finest. Now, this is going to be very, very brief because there's not a lot to talk about these issues. Okay, I'm kind of talking about issues 71 to 100. You're like, Nick, why are you talking about 30 issues? Well, okay. The reason why I'm talking about this much because there's actually one feature talking about these issues. That being the character Tomahawk. Reading the stories, is he a Western character? Based upon how the stories are set, no. This is more like late. This is like pre-19. It's like I would say late 18th century, because we have like the clothing in this time period, like the stuff with lots of stuff with Native Americans in this book, lots of stuff. Surprisingly, this stuff is never collected in trade. Yeah, like if you look up anything online, like is there a Tomahawk trade out there? No, there isn't. And these are some of the stories. Like one issue, he replaces the chief because. By the way, the tribe was Mohicans. Yes, the Mohicans. He replaced the chief after their chief was spooked away by some prophecy or whatever. And the guy himself looked like Davy Crockett. Well, the one who was, David Crockett, the one who died at the Alamo. He dressed the same with a bear cat. From what I heard, the real life guy did not like call Davy at all. He preferred to go by David. Like the whole thing of Davy Crockett, not the announcer who worked for WCW, who worked for NWA, who was a legendary announcer. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about David Crockett, the one who died at the Alamo. Is that the appearance, basically, it's like, it's based on him, but it's not him. It's a completely different character. You would think reading these stories, oh, these are Western stories. No. There's no Western towns, no, and by the way, yes, Native Americans are basically colored to be red, because that's how they were depicted by then. Now, probably also the reason why that this is not collected in trade is probably because some people at DC Comics probably think some of these stories are racist. Not really, no. As a matter of fact, the main character doesn't hate Native Americans. He's not racist, right? He just basically he works them a lot throughout these issues, these stories here. So these stories are okay. I don't think they're terrible per se. You see, there was also a feature here for Super Batman and Green Arrow. I've discussed those already for these issues. That's why I'm discussing Tomahawk here. And the main reason why I want to discuss these kind of briefly talk about the issues first because, well, I've already discussed the other two features already, and I really want to put some of this up behind me because the area of Bullet Finance I really want to get to is like some of the 100 stuff and the basically 200s that I really want to get to. I'll get to it quickly here, but I'll talk about it later. There's actually going to be some issues where just talking about the opening story. I'm very much looking forward to discussing more Super Batman, per se, but won't get there just yet. I probably won't get there, probably not into the next Comic Corner, because from basically 71 to 116, I reviewed all the stories of those issues already, so I want to talk about these issues here. There's a bit of like the work with the British Redcoats here. There's no mention of the American Revolution per se in the stories here. You probably think, is there a real life struggle figure here? Not really. I would say it's set in the Americas, basically the time of the colonies, when they were colonies. I would say before the U.S. became independent. That's probably my guess, anyways. Like, it's weird they came with this concept of Tomahawk. Like, you would think Tomahawk, bearskin cap, like this alpha he wears in the book. You would think it's a Western book. No, it's not. Not really. Lucky enough, he gets replaced by a much better style story timing tomorrow. Story's okay. I'm going to give roughly a 7.5 out of 10 for these stories here. Oh, in case you're curious, though, the Tomahawk stories are only 6 pages. That's why, basically, I brought up 30 issues here, because it's just go on adventures with Indians. Well, Native Americans, per se. It's like... Okay, I know for a fact that there's terms that basically when I was younger that were okay to say that are not okay to say today. If my friend was as Native Americans, that is fine. Okay? Because that's what they are. They are Native Americans. Or Indians, per se. Yes, I do know there's another type of Indian. That's people who would like basically from the country of India. That's fine. But I'm referring to either Native Americans or Indians. Because that's the term I've been used to since I was a child. So if anybody attempts to correct me about, you can't call them that anymore. My response is, I don't freaking care. I will not change how I call certain people, like certain type of people, and the way I talk is not racist. Do I use the more colorful racial terms, like using the N-word, or use the word boy to describe basically somebody? No. No, I don't. I may be born in the southern area of the United States, but I don't have the accent. No. I can pull it on, but I don't regularly speak it. I speak normal English, like anybody else does. Yes, there might be some stuff I say that might be considered either racist or like, you can't say that because that's not a good thing to say anymore. Okay, here's the thing to people who say that. Don't tell me how I can talk. I can talk how I want to talk, okay? If I want to refer to something by a particular term, I will refer to it as that. If you think it's racist, fine. I don't give a damn. But do not ever call me a racist. I am not a racist at all. Just because I refer to some stuff, some certain type of people, like, yeah, if that person's black, he's black. Do I refer him as colored? No, I don't. Because it's an outdated term. Like, Hispanic. You know what that means? people who speak Spanish. Okay? Yeah, they got light skin. That means maybe Hispanic, but not guarantee Hispanic. Do I refer to people who are Asian as like yellow people? No, because that's stupid. Or do I refer to the Americans as Redskins? No. Outdated term. I don't use that. I've never referred to Native Americans as Redskins. They may have, here's the thing. Okay, the whole thing of Native Americans having red skin, that is fictitious. Okay, Native Americans do not have red skin. They're a bit darker color per se, but they're not Redskins at all. Okay, do I think that he put on white, basically like blackface, is that racist? Yes, it is. I do believe that's racist. I know I'm going to have a rant here per se, but please do not call me racist when I refer to people by certain terms. Like, here's all something though. Wendigo. Apparently now that's considered racist. I don't know how that word is considered racist. I think it's stupid. You see, the first thing I think of when I think of Wendigo, I think of the character from Marvel Comics. That's what I think of first. Now, whatever you think Wendigo is, that's what I think of first. Okay? So, moving on from that. So, that's a particular view. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn notifications, and do another like button. So, next up, another comic corner. Oh, and don't worry, the book I talk about is a lot better. Oh, yeah. Excuse me, next time, 2 sci-fi related books. You'll find one there in the next video.